welcome to my channel. Today I'm very excited because I have a special guest. As you can see, this is my husband, Matthew. He's been in one of my other videos previously, but this is the first time that we've actually sat down together and made a video just us two, so I'm really excited. We're going to be doing a book talk with everyone today. Matthew and I decided to start reading books together because we have a lot of different hobbies and there's not a lot of stuff that we have in common with each other. So we decided that we wanted to start reading books together so that we could have something to talk about, something to do together. And I really like to read. I think reading is one of the best hobbies that anyone could pick up because it expands your mind, allows you to use your imagination, and there's so many creative stories out there.
Vocabulary.
So let's just jump into today's video and get started. Sorry if you can hear any noise in the background. There is construction going on in our apartment building, and my dogs are running around, so yeah. Okay, so the first book that we decided to read for January is called A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. So this book is about a girl named Feyre. Her name is spelled F-E-Y-R-E. Feyre, and there's a pronunciation guide in the back with how to pronounce a whole bunch of things. And Feyre lives in a world where fairies exist. Not like your flying little fluttery Tinkerbell characters, but fae. And in this world it's illegal to kill fairies. And she is hunting one day in the woods and she comes across a fairy and she kills it because she doesn't want to get eaten by it. And as her punishment, when the High Lord of this court where this fairy lives, he says you either need to sacrifice your life for his life, the fairy that you killed, or you need to come and live with me at my court for the rest of your life. And so she goes there, and he is the beast, like in the Tale of Beauty and the Beast.
Literally transforms into a beast.
Yeah, he does, yeah. That's his ability is changing, shape-shifting, yes. So that's what it's about, and then they fall in love, and then there's a antagonist, bad fairy, and they have to defeat her, Okay, so let's start by rating the book on a scale of 1 to 5 stars. How many stars would you give it, and why?
I'd give it 3.8.
3.8?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, 3.8 out of 5 stars.
It was a good book and it was worth reading, but it's not a book that I would really say would be worth reading a second time. It was fairly well written, but it just had moments in it that just kind of lost my attention.
I would say I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5 stars because I really liked the characters and I really liked it, but I thought there could still be that hurrah, oh, what can I do to push this over the edge of greatness? And that didn't really quite hit there for me. Okay, something that I really liked about the book was that I thought the plot was really flushed out. The plot started as how I described it earlier. She goes to live with him and they treat her like she's a monster because she killed one of their friends, and they kind of shun her away, yeah. But then eventually, she starts to become friends with one of the 2 fairies that she lives with. She lives with 2 fairies. Tamlin, he's the beast, and Lucian. Lucian is his lieutenant, yeah. And so she starts to become friends with Lucian, and eventually she falls in love with Tamlin. Then at the end of the book, there's this bad fairy. Her name is Amarantha, I believe that's how you pronounce it. And they have to defeat her. She is overtaking their entire land and boxing up all the fairies' magic and giving it to herself, so she rids them of their powers. The reason I liked the plot was because the whole time that she was living with Tamlin, he had this curse put on him. For his entire court, he and his court, anyone who lived in his court, were cursed to wear masquerade masks, and so you couldn't see their faces. The curse, she knew about the curse because everyone's wearing masks, but she never really knew why they were cursed or the whole underlying meaning. And then at the end, there's this one chapter and just completely explains everything. And then you're oh my gosh, everything fit perfectly into place. And it was just perfect, which is, I think, why I liked it so much. And at the end, it had this huge, wrap-up. She had to defeat her, and she had to do like these 3 tasks. And if you've ever read fairy tales, a common trend in fairy tales is things come in sets of 3. And so I really like that at the end because this is like a fairy tale. So, I mean, that just kind of held true to the fairy tale aspect of this novel. I really like that about it.
One of the things I didn't really like about it, and probably why I gave it a slightly lower rating, was at the end, she pretty much sacrifices her life and stuff to defeat this, whatever her name was and stuff.
Amarantha.
That. She ends up dying. All the high lords and stuff of all these different courts come and they like drop this little like energy like golden drop into her and stuff.
It's like a ball of light.
It's this little ball of light that goes into her and stuff, and she's reborn. But she's reborn as one of them. She becomes a fae herself. But like it didn't say like that she slowly realizes that she has powers that she didn't have before, that she can feel the magic coursing through her veins or anything like that. It literally was like, my fingers are longer than they should be. Oh, this feels weird. I'm a high fae. Like, literally, it was like a sentence that she realized that she was a high fae, and it really took me out of that moment and stuff when I read that. Like, I was like, really? Everything else was well written, and then it just kind of collapsed right there at the end for me and stuff, and I really, really didn't like that.
Okay. Okay, this is what it says. I groaned as I braced my hands against the floor, readying myself to stand, but the sight of my skin stopped me cold. It gleamed with a strange light, and my fingers seemed longer where I'd laid them flat on the marble. I pushed to my feet. I felt strong and fast and sleek, and I'd become high fae. That's
Lame.
it. Like, yeah, it wasn't like, oh, I wonder what's wrong with me. Like, why do my fingers look funny? Or something like that. It was just all of a sudden a realization, oh, I'm high fae.
And not only that, but there's like a bajillion different classes of fae and stuff. Like, she just automatically assumed that she was a high fae.
Why not just a fae? Why not just a fairy? Why a high fae?
Ooh, high fae.
It was just kind of bizarre how
like
that happened. Yeah, I have to completely agree with that.
Like, you're building up to that moment, and then it just collapsed for me. And
one of the characters that I really liked was Reasoned. Is that how you pronounce his name? How do you pronounce his name?
Oh, that guy? Yeah, I'll say Reasoned.
Resand? He was kind of like an underlying character throughout the entire thing. He showed up at one point while Feyre was living with Tamlin, and then he comes back at the end again, and he's like, the whole time, like, portrayed as like a bad guy. Kind of like how Snape is, how you don't like him, and then he turns out to be a good guy at the end. That's kind of how he was, and I really liked that. Who was your favorite character?
He was a good character and stuff.
Reasoned?
Yeah, but I don't know, I kind of like Lucian too. Or even her, the Alice chick.
Alice, I liked Alice too. Alice was, again, like an underlying character. She was kind of like Feyre's like lady-in-waiting, I guess. And at the end, she's the one that reveals everything to her, like sums the whole plot up and everything.
But no, my favorite would probably be Tamlin.
Tamlin?
He, like, even though he was missing almost like a good portion of his power throughout the entire thing, he was still overwhelmingly powerful and stuff. If something threatened his land and stuff, he went and annihilated it and stuff. And he only had a fraction of his power because of the one bad villainous chick of whatever her name is and stuff. Stole probably almost all of his power. He had just the small little drop of his power, yet he was still significantly stronger than anything else. Yeah. Just sheer strength.
Definitely. The only other thing that I really want to say is that even though this is considered like young adult, I would advise young children from reading this book because it
has a sex scene
there's a couple sex scenes in there. So anyone under like the age of 14, 15, I'd probably say don't read it. But other than that, it was a really, really good book, and I look forward to reading the next one. So yeah, I look forward to reading the next one. This one came out in 2015, A Court of Thorns and Roses, what it's called, and then this one is the next one that we're going to be reading. It's called A Court of Mist and Fury. And this one came out last year, 2016, and it's just a continuation of the story. There's like a deal that Feyre makes in this one, and she has to fulfill it in this one. So that's what this is about. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I think we've told you enough spoilers, so I feel like everyone should go and read this book because it was really, really good, and I would highly recommend it. Okay, so that's it for today's video. I hope you guys liked it. Give it a big thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to see more videos like this. See you next time. Bye! Jackson!
That's Jill.
Oh, Jilly.